Thought Vibration, or the Law of Attraction in the Thought World by William Walker Atkinson. What if your thoughts are not private? What if every thought you think is sending something out into the world around you? Not as a metaphor, not as a spiritual concept that requires faith to accept, but as a real and measurable phenomenon. One that is shaping your experience, your relationships, your opportunities, and the entire quality of your daily existence with a consistency and a precision that most people never examine because they never knew there was anything to examine. William Walker Atkinson examined it. In 1906, at a time when the scientific understanding of energy and vibration was transforming the way educated people thought about the nature of physical reality, Atkinson sat down and wrote a book that applied that new understanding to the oldest question in human experience. Why do some people consistently attract good things into their lives while others, equally deserving, equally hardworking, equally hopeful, consistently attract difficulty? His answer was not vague, it was not comfortable, and it was not what most people expected. The difference, he said, is in the quality of thought. Specifically in the vibrational quality of the mental atmosphere that each person is continuously projecting into the world around them. And in the law, as consistent and as reliable as any law of physics, by which that projected mental atmosphere attracts back to itself conditions and circumstances and people that vibrate at the same frequency. Like attracts like, not as a motivational slogan. As a precise description of how the thought world actually operates, this is not the secret in its popular modern form. This is the original source material that the secret drew from without fully crediting. This is the precise and uncompromising original examination of the law that later teachers simplified and packaged and presented to mass audiences in forms that were easier to digest, but considerably less complete. Atkinson does not simplify. He explains. With the care and the precision of someone who understands that a law only becomes practically useful when it is genuinely understood rather than superficially adopted. In the chapters that follow, he is going to give you that genuine understanding of what thought vibration actually is, of how the law of attraction actually operates at the level of thought, of why your current mental atmosphere is producing your current results with perfect consistency, and of exactly what you can do to change that mental atmosphere deliberately and systematically so that what it attracts begins to change with it. This is the original. Everything else is a copy. Chapter 1, Thought Vibration. The universe is not made of things. It is made of vibrations. This is not poetry. It is not spiritual metaphor dressed in scientific language to sound more credible. It is the conclusion that the physics of Atkinson's era was arriving at with increasing certainty, and that our own era has confirmed with far greater precision. Everything that exists in the physical world is, at the level of its fundamental nature, energy in motion, vibrating at particular frequencies, interacting with other energies through the medium of those frequencies. The solid table is not solid at the atomic level. It is a pattern of energy vibrating with sufficient density and sufficient consistency to present the appearance of solidity to our ordinary senses. This understanding transformed the way thoughtful people in Atkinson's era understood the physical world. But Atkinson took it one step further. One step that most of his contemporaries were not willing to take. He said the same principle applies to thought. A thought is not nothing. It is not a private mental event that exists only within the boundary of the skull and has no reality or consequence beyond that boundary. A thought is a real form of energy, vibrating at a particular frequency, projecting that frequency into the mental atmosphere surrounding the thinker, and interacting with other thought energies through the same fundamental law of attraction that governs every other form of energetic interaction in the universe. Like vibrations attract like vibrations. This is the law of mental attraction. And it operates with the same consistency, the same precision, and the same complete indifference to the preferences of the individual as the law of gravity, your thoughts are broadcasting continuously. Right now, into the mental atmosphere that surrounds you. They are projecting their particular vibrational quality outward and attracting back toward you conditions and circumstances and people whose vibrational quality matches what you are broadcasting. This is not happening occasionally. It is happening always, whether you know about it or not. Whether you believe in it or not. Whether you are directing it consciously or leaving it to be directed by whatever habitual patterns of thought happen to be most active in your mental life. The law does not care whether you understand it. It operates regardless. The only question is whether you will continue to let it operate unconsciously, allowing habitual thought patterns whose vibrational quality you have never examined to attract the conditions that match them, or whether you will begin to understand it well enough to use it deliberately. To consciously cultivate the quality of thought vibration that attracts the conditions you genuinely want, rather than the conditions your unconscious habits have been generating. Atkinson is careful to establish something at the outset that distinguishes his treatment of this subject from the superficial versions that followed it. Understanding this law is not the same as using it effectively. Knowing that like attracts like does not automatically produce the ability to consistently hold thoughts of the vibrational quality that attracts desired conditions. That ability requires something more than knowledge. It requires the genuine development of the capacity to direct and maintain thought quality deliberately, which is itself a practice. A real and demanding practice that produces real and measurable results when applied with genuine understanding and genuine consistency. The knowledge comes first. Then the practice, then the results in that order, always. Chapter 2, The Law of Attraction in the Thought World. You are a magnet, not metaphorically. Not in the loose inspirational sense that the word is often used when people want to say something encouraging about human potential. In the precise functional sense, you are continuously attracting toward yourself the conditions, the people, the opportunities, and the circumstances that correspond to the dominant quality of your habitual thought vibration. This is happening right now. It was happening yesterday. It will happen tomorrow. It has been happening every day of your life since you were capable of sustained thought. And it will continue happening with complete consistency and complete indifference to your preferences about it, until the quality of your habitual thought vibration genuinely changes. Atkinson wants to be very clear about what this law actually says. Because there are popular versions of it that sound similar but miss the most important element entirely. The law of attraction in the thought world does not say that thinking about what you want will attract what you want. This is the simplified version. The version that sounds immediately appealing and that has been repeated so many times in so many forms that most people have come to assume it is what the original teaching actually meant. It is not. Thinking about what you want while simultaneously feeling the absence of it, while holding at the deeper level the genuine inner conviction that it is not present and may never be, does not attract what you want. It attracts more of the feeling of its absence. Because what you are broadcasting at the vibrational level is not the thought of the desired condition. It is the feeling of lacking it. And the law, responding to the actual vibrational quality of what is being broadcast rather than to the surface content of the conscious thought, attracts conditions that match the broadcast, which is the condition of lack. This is why so many people who have encountered the popular versions of the law of attraction have found that thinking positively about desired outcomes does not reliably produce those outcomes. Not because the law is wrong, because they have been applying a misunderstanding of it. The law responds to vibrational quality, not to surface thought content, and vibrational quality is determined not by what you are consciously thinking, but by what you are genuinely feeling at the deeper level of your inner life. By the habitual emotional tone that underlies your conscious thoughts. By the deep and largely unconscious conviction about what is real and possible and available to you that your mental atmosphere is continuously broadcasting. Atkinson describes this as the difference between a thought held in the mind and a thought impressed on the mind. A thought held in the mind sits at the surface. It occupies conscious attention for a period and then passes. Its vibrational influence is real but limited. A thought impressed on the mind reaches the deeper levels. It becomes part of the habitual mental atmosphere. It shapes the underlying emotional tone, and it broadcasts at a vibrational quality that is powerful and consistent, and that the law of attraction responds to with corresponding power and consistency. The work of genuinely applying the law of attraction is therefore not the work of thinking certain thoughts more often at the surface level. It is the work of impressing certain qualities of thought and feeling deeply enough on the mental system that they become the genuine habitual atmosphere from which the magnetic broadcasting operates. This is demanding work. It is real work. It cannot be shortcut by enthusiastic repetition of positive statements that are not genuinely felt. It cannot be replaced by temporary emotional highs that fade when the stimulus that produced them is removed. It requires the patient, consistent, genuine development of a different quality of inner life. One in which the dominant vibrational tone is genuinely aligned with what you want to attract rather than merely pointed in its direction, while the deeper atmosphere remains broadcasting something else entirely. Atkinson closes this chapter with a thought that reframes the entire question of why your current life looks the way it does. Look honestly at what you habitually feel most deeply. Not what you consciously think or consciously prefer. What you genuinely feel at the level beneath the surface thoughts, the habitual emotional tone, the underlying conviction about what is real and available and likely. That is what your mental magnet has been broadcasting, and what surrounds you is what it has attracted. Change the broadcast. And the attraction changes with it. Chapter 3 Thought Waves and their effects. Your thoughts are traveling right now, not staying contained within the boundary of your skull, not remaining private, moving outward into the mental atmosphere surrounding you, into the space between you and every other person you encounter, into the larger field of thought energy that connects every conscious mind in ways that most people never examine because they never knew there was anything there to examine. Atkinson calls these moving thought energies thought waves, and he describes them with a precision that the vague popular presentations of similar ideas consistently lack. A thought wave is not a metaphor. It is a real phenomenon operating through a real medium. In the same way that a stone dropped into still water produces waves that move outward from the point of impact in every direction, carrying the energy of the impact across the entire surface of the water. A thought produced in a conscious mind generates waves of mental energy that move outward from that mind into the surrounding mental atmosphere. These waves carry the vibrational quality of the thought that generated them. A thought of confidence and genuine positive expectation generates waves carrying that vibrational quality. A thought of fear and anticipated failure generates waves carrying that vibrational quality instead. The content of the thought shapes the quality of the wave. And the quality of the wave determines what it attracts and what effect it produces in the mental atmosphere it moves through. Atkinson identifies 3 distinct effects that thought waves produce. The first is the effect on the thinker themselves. Every thought you think impresses its vibrational quality on your own mental system before it reaches anyone or anything else. The thought of courage makes you more courageous in the immediate moment of thinking it. The thought of fear makes you more fearful. The thought of abundance strengthens the inner conviction of abundance. The thought of lack strengthens the inner conviction of lack. This means that every thought is simultaneously a broadcast outward and an impression inward. You are shaping yourself with every thought you think. Not just influencing the outer world, continuously and directly shaping the inner world from which your outer experience emerges. The second effect is on other people in the immediate environment. Thought waves of sufficient strength and consistency are perceptible to other minds even when those minds have no conscious awareness of perceiving anything. The person who enters a room carrying a strong mental atmosphere of confidence and genuine positive expectation produces an effect on the people in that room that has nothing to do with what they say or how they present themselves. The mental atmosphere precedes the words and shapes the reception of everything that follows. This is what most people attribute to charisma or presence or personal magnetism. It is real, but its source is not some mysterious innate quality. It is the quality of the thought waves being projected by a mind that has developed a strong and consistent mental atmosphere through genuine inner development. The third effect is on the larger field of thought energy that Atkinson describes as the mental atmosphere of the world. Individual thought waves, projected consistently and with genuine strength, contribute to and are influenced by the larger currents of thought energy moving through the collective mental atmosphere. This is why certain ideas seem to arise simultaneously in multiple minds in different locations. Why certain qualities of thought seem easier to maintain in certain environments and harder in others. Why the mental atmosphere of a city or a community or an organization has a tangible quality that influences the thinking of everyone within it. Your thoughts are not neutral contributions to this larger atmosphere. They are real inputs with real effects that extend beyond your immediate personal experience. Atkinson closes with a practical implication that follows directly from this understanding. If thought waves are real and their effects are consistent, then the quality of your habitual thinking is not a private matter with consequences limited to your own inner experience. It is a genuine contribution to the mental atmosphere of everything and everyone your thought waves reach. Think accordingly, not occasionally. Always. Chapter 4, Mind Building. Most people build their minds the way most people build their bodies. By accident, they consume whatever is most immediately available, whatever the environment happens to offer. Whatever the people around them happen to be thinking and feeling and broadcasting into the shared mental atmosphere. Whatever the media they habitually consume happens to deposit in the mental system without any deliberate examination of whether it belongs there. And then they wonder why the mind they have is not producing the results they want, why the thoughts that arise automatically are not the thoughts that serve them, why the mental atmosphere they are broadcasting is attracting conditions they did not consciously choose. The answer is always the same. The mind was built by whatever was given to it rather than by deliberate conscious choice about what it should contain. Atkinson calls the alternative mind building, and he considers it one of the most important practical activities available to any person who genuinely understands how the thought world operates. Mind building is the deliberate and conscious development of the mental qualities and the thought patterns and the vibrational atmosphere that you want to characterize your inner life. Not leaving the content and quality of your mind to be determined by whatever happens to be most insistently present in your environment, but choosing with genuine awareness and genuine intention what you will consistently think about, what qualities you will consistently cultivate, and what vibrational atmosphere you will deliberately develop. This sounds straightforward, and the principle behind it is straightforward. But the practice is considerably more demanding than the principle suggests. Because the mind that has been built by accident, by years of unconscious absorption of whatever the environment offered, has established deep patterns. Deep grooves of habitual thought that run automatically and powerfully, and that do not yield to the occasional conscious intention to think differently. Atkinson is honest about this. He does not suggest that deliberate mind building produces immediate dramatic transformation. He does not promise that a week of positive thinking will undo years of accumulated unconscious patterning. He makes a more honest and more useful promise. That consistent deliberate practice, applied with genuine understanding over sufficient time, produces genuine and measurable change in the quality of the mental atmosphere. And that genuine change in the mental atmosphere produces genuine change in what that atmosphere attracts. The practice of mind building that Atkinson prescribes has several specific components. The first is deliberate input selection. Choosing with genuine care what you allow to enter the mental system through what you read, what you listen to, what conversations you engage in, and what media you consume. Not in a rigid or fearful way, but with the genuine awareness that every input is contributing to the mental atmosphere you are building, and that the mental atmosphere you are building is determining what you attract. The second is the cultivation of specific mental qualities through deliberate concentrated practice. Choosing a quality, confidence, abundance consciousness, genuine positive expectation, and deliberately holding thoughts that embody that quality with concentrated mental engagement for sustained periods. Not as a performance for external observers. As a genuine internal practice of impressing chosen qualities on the deeper levels of the mental system. The third is the deliberate management of what Atkinson calls mental weeds. The habitual negative thought patterns that arise automatically, and that, if given genuine attention and genuine emotional engagement, deepen their impression on the mental system and strengthen their vibrational broadcasting. The practice with mental weeds is not suppression. Forced suppression of unwanted thoughts feeds them with the attention of resistance. The practice is deliberate withdrawal of genuine engagement, noticing the arising of the unwanted pattern without following it, returning attention to the chosen quality without fighting the unwanted one. Starving it of the genuine attention that gives it its impressional power, over time with consistent practice the chosen qualities deepen. The unwanted patterns lose their automatic grip. The mental atmosphere shifts, and what it attracts shifts with it. Build deliberately, every single day. What you build determines everything else. Chapter 5, The Attractive Power of Thought. There is a force operating in your life that you have never been formally introduced to. Not a mysterious force, not a supernatural one, a natural force. As real and as consistent and as reliable as any force described in any physics textbook. Operating through a medium that is just as real as the air that carries sound waves and just as invisible to ordinary observation. That force is the attractive power of thought. Atkinson has established in the previous chapters that thoughts are real forms of energy, that they project their vibrational quality outward in waves that move through the mental atmosphere surrounding the thinker, and that these waves interact with other thought energies through the fundamental law of like attracting like. Now he examines the attractive mechanism more closely. Because understanding precisely how thought attracts is the difference between applying this knowledge superficially and applying it with genuine and lasting effectiveness. The attractive power of thought does not operate primarily through conscious intention. This is the point that most popular treatments of the law of attraction miss most completely. They focus on the conscious intention, on deciding what you want and thinking about it deliberately. And they produce disappointing results because the conscious intention is only the visible surface of the thought world. Beneath it, operating with far greater continuity and far greater impressional power, is the habitual mental atmosphere. The deep, consistent vibrational quality of the inner life that is broadcasting continuously whether or not any conscious intention is present. The attractive power comes from the depth and the consistency of the vibrational broadcast, not from the intensity of occasional conscious focus. Think of two radio transmitters. One broadcasts a weak intermittent signal, the other broadcasts a strong continuous one. The first produces results only when it happens to be transmitting at the moment a receiver is tuned to its frequency. The second is constantly available to every receiver tuned to its frequency. Its reach and its effectiveness are incomparably greater, not because any single transmission is more powerful, but because the continuity and the consistency of the broadcast mean that the signal is always present and always attracting. Your habitual mental atmosphere is the continuous broadcast. Your conscious intentions are the intermittent ones. The continuous broadcast determines the actual magnetic quality of your thought world. The intermittent intentions can only supplement or work against it. They cannot replace it. This is why Atkinson emphasizes the development of the habitual mental atmosphere over the cultivation of specific conscious intentions. Not because conscious intentions are unimportant, but because conscious intentions that are aligned with the habitual mental atmosphere amplify its attractive power, while conscious intentions that contradict the habitual mental atmosphere are working against the continuous broadcast and will almost always lose. The practical work is therefore always at the level of the habitual atmosphere, of the deep, consistent vibrational quality of the inner life, of what is genuinely felt most of the time at the level beneath the surface thoughts. Atkinson describes how the attractive power of thought actually draws specific conditions and circumstances and people toward the thinker. It operates through two channels simultaneously. The first is direct. The thought vibrations of a particular quality move through the mental atmosphere and interact with other minds and conditions whose vibrational quality corresponds. Like a tuning fork that causes another tuning fork of the same frequency to vibrate sympathetically across a room, strong, consistent thought vibrations of a particular quality activate corresponding qualities in the environment, drawing attention to opportunities that were previously unnoticed, generating responses in people that create openings that were not previously present, producing a quality of receptivity in the surrounding environment to the conditions that the thought vibration is broadcasting. The second channel is internal. The habitual mental atmosphere shapes perception. It determines what the mind notices and what it overlooks, what it recognizes as opportunity and what it filters out as irrelevant. A mind broadcasting the vibrational quality of abundance perceives evidence of abundance in its environment that a mind broadcasting scarcity walks past without registering. Not because the evidence was not there, because the mental atmosphere determined what was available to be seen. Both channels operate simultaneously and continuously. The thought attracts outward and clears the inner lens to receive what has been attracted. Together they produce the conditions of a life, your conditions, shaped by your broadcast, always. Chapter 6: Raising Your Vibrations. You are not stuck with the mental atmosphere you currently have. This is perhaps the most important thing Atkinson says in this entire book. Because everything else, all the understanding of thought vibration and mental attraction, and the law of like attracting like, only becomes practically useful when it is combined with the genuine knowledge that the vibrational quality of your inner life is not fixed, not determined once and for all by your history or your circumstances or the particular patterns that years of unconscious mental habit have established. It is changeable, deliberately, systematically, through practices that are available to every person regardless of where their current mental atmosphere stands. Atkinson calls this process raising your vibrations, and he is precise about what it actually means. Raising your vibrations does not mean forcing yourself to feel good when you genuinely feel bad. It does not mean the performance of positivity that has no genuine inner substance behind it. It does not mean the suppression of genuine, difficult feeling in favor of a surface presentation of cheerfulness that fools nobody, least of all the deeper mental system whose vibrational quality is what actually matters. It means the genuine and progressive development of a deeper and more consistent quality of inner life, one in which the habitual mental atmosphere moves over time and through genuine practice, from the lower vibrational qualities of fear, doubt, resentment, and chronic negative expectation toward the higher vibrational qualities of confidence, genuine positive expectation, abundance consciousness, and the deep inner knowing that good is available and coming. This movement is not dramatic. It is not the result of a single powerful insight or a single transformative experience. It is gradual, incremental. The result of consistent daily practice applied with genuine understanding over sufficient time. Atkinson identifies several specific practices for raising the vibrational quality of the mental atmosphere. The first is what he calls thought selection. The deliberate and consistent practice of choosing which thoughts to give genuine inner attention to and which to allow to pass without engagement. Not forcing unwanted thoughts away, but consistently choosing to give the sustained inner engagement that impressional power requires to thoughts of the higher vibrational quality, while withdrawing that engagement from thoughts of the lower. Over time, this consistent selection shifts the balance of what receives genuine inner attention. And what receives genuine inner attention is what deepens its impression on the mental system. And what deepens its impression shapes the habitual atmosphere. The second practice is deliberate association with higher vibrations, seeking out the company of people whose habitual mental atmosphere operates at the vibrational quality you are working to develop. Reading the words of minds that have genuinely developed the inner qualities you want to cultivate. Spending time in environments whose mental atmosphere supports rather than undermines the vibrational quality you are building. This is not snobbery. It is the practical recognition that the mental atmosphere you habitually inhabit influences your own mental atmosphere, whether you are conscious of the influence or not. And that choosing to place yourself consistently in mental atmospheres of higher vibrational quality is one of the most effective accelerants of the development you are working toward. The third practice is what Atkinson calls the cultivation of the mental state of expectancy. The deliberate development of a genuine, inner sense of positive expectation. Not the anxious hoping that things will go well. The calm, settled inner knowing that good is available, that the law is operating consistently in your favor as you raise your vibrational quality, and that the conditions you are attracting are already in the process of moving toward you. This quality of genuine positive expectancy is itself a high vibrational state, and it becomes self-reinforcing as it develops. The genuine expectation of good creates a mental atmosphere that attracts evidence of good. That evidence deepens the genuine expectation, which strengthens the mental atmosphere further. The upward spiral is as real as the downward one, and it begins with exactly the same mechanism. One genuine thought of higher quality, held with genuine inner attention, repeated consistently. Until it becomes the atmosphere rather than the exception. Chapter 7, the mental atmosphere every person you have ever met has left an impression on you. Not through what they said, not through what they did, through something that preceded both. Something that was present before the first word was spoken, and that remained after the last word faded. A quality of mental presence that communicated itself directly to your own mental atmosphere in ways that your conscious reasoning mind did not manage and cannot fully reconstruct. You have felt this without knowing what to call it, the person who makes you feel immediately at ease, whose presence produces a quality of calm and confidence that has nothing to do with anything they have said or done. The person who makes you feel immediately uneasy, whose presence generates a subtle but unmistakable sense of tension or contraction that you cannot explain through any visible behavior. The person whose energy seems to fill a room before they speak. The person whose presence seems to drain energy from everyone around them. These are not mysteries. They are the direct perception of mental atmosphere. Atkinson defines the mental atmosphere precisely. It is the vibrational quality of a person's habitual thought life projected outward into the space they occupy. The aggregate of all the dominant thought vibrations they are continuously broadcasting, their characteristic emotional tone, their deep and largely unconscious convictions about themselves and the world and what is possible and what is not. This atmosphere is not visible, but it is perceptible. Every person who comes into contact with it receives its vibrational impression, whether or not they have any conscious awareness of what they are receiving. The impression is real. It produces real effects in the mental state of the person who receives it. And those effects shape the quality of every interaction that follows. This is why the mental atmosphere matters far more than most people realize in the practical conduct of daily life. In business, in relationships, in every form of human interaction, the mental atmosphere of the people involved is doing more to determine the quality and the outcome of the interaction than anything they consciously say or do. The person who understands this has an immediate and significant practical advantage, not because they can manipulate the mental atmosphere of others, but because they understand that developing the quality of their own mental atmosphere is the most powerful investment they can make in the quality of every relationship and every interaction in their life. Atkinson describes what a genuinely developed positive mental atmosphere produces in the practical context of human interaction. It produces trust. Not because the person with the developed mental atmosphere has said anything particularly trustworthy, but because the vibrational quality of their mental atmosphere communicates something directly to the deeper levels of the minds they encounter. Something that the conscious reasoning mind of the other person recognizes as genuine even when it cannot articulate why. It produces receptivity. The person whose mental atmosphere is genuinely positive and genuinely confident creates a quality of openness in the people around them. A willingness to hear, to consider, to engage that the person whose mental atmosphere carries the vibrational quality of doubt or anxiety or desperate need does not produce regardless of how carefully they craft their words. It produces genuine influence. Not the influence of persuasion or manipulation or the strategic deployment of social techniques. The influence of genuine vibrational resonance. The natural tendency of lower vibrations to rise in the presence of consistently higher ones. Atkinson also addresses the responsibility that comes with understanding mental atmosphere. He says that the person who understands how mental atmosphere operates, and who has developed the capacity to project a powerful one, carries a genuine responsibility for how they use that capacity. A powerful mental atmosphere is not morally neutral. It can be used in the service of genuine good, of genuine value creation, of genuine contribution to the well-being of others. Or it can be used in the service of manipulation and exploitation and the advancement of personal interest at the expense of others. The law operates either way, but the quality of what is built through either use reflects the quality of the intention behind it. Use your mental atmosphere wisely. Develop it genuinely, and direct it always toward what is genuinely worth attracting. Chapter 8 Mental Concentration. In the thought world, there is a difference between a thought that passes through the mind and a thought that enters it. Most thoughts pass through. They arise, occupy the surface of attention for a moment, and then dissolve without leaving any significant impression. The mind registers them the way still water registers a leaf floating across its surface. There is contact. There is momentary disturbance. And then the surface returns to its previous condition as though nothing had occurred, but some thoughts enter. They reach below the surface. They impress themselves on the deeper levels of the mental system with a depth and a clarity that the passing thought never achieves. They become part of the habitual mental atmosphere. They shape the vibrational quality of the continuous broadcast. And through that broadcast, they attract conditions that correspond to their quality with consistency and reliability. The difference between a thought that passes through and a thought that enters is concentration. Atkinson connects the power of mental concentration directly to the effectiveness of the law of attraction in this chapter. And the connection he makes is both precise and practically essential. The law of attraction responds to the vibrational quality of the mental atmosphere. The mental atmosphere is shaped by what is deeply impressed on the mental system. And what is deeply impressed on the mental system is what receives the sustained, focused attention of genuine concentration. A thought held with scattered partial attention for a brief period impresses the mental system shallowly. Its vibrational contribution to the mental atmosphere is real but limited. It does not have the depth of impression that genuine atmospheric change requires. A thought held with complete concentrated attention for a sustained period impresses the mental system deeply. Its vibrational contribution to the mental atmosphere is substantial. It shifts the quality of the habitual broadcast in the direction of its own vibrational quality. And that shift produces corresponding shifts in what the broadcast attracts. This means that the development of mental concentration is not separate from the work of applying the law of attraction. It is the primary instrument through which that work is done effectively. The person who cannot concentrate cannot deeply impress chosen thought qualities on the mental system. And the person who cannot deeply impress chosen thought qualities cannot genuinely shift the vibrational quality of their mental atmosphere. And the person who cannot genuinely shift the vibrational quality of their mental atmosphere cannot reliably change what that atmosphere attracts. Concentration is the mechanism. The law of attraction is the result. Atkinson describes what genuine mental concentration in the thought world actually involves. It is not the effortful straining of a mind trying to force itself to think certain thoughts. That kind of forced mental effort creates the vibrational quality of strain and struggle rather than the quality of confident positive expectation that the desired attraction requires. The effort itself undermines the result. Genuine mental concentration in the thought world is the relaxed and complete absorption of attention in a chosen thought quality. The full and willing engagement of the mind with the vibrational reality of the chosen mental state, not observing it from outside, inhabiting it from within. Feeling its quality genuinely rather than thinking about it analytically. The distinction between feeling a quality and thinking about it is everything in this context. Thinking about confidence is a surface activity. Feeling confidence genuinely, inhabiting its vibrational quality completely with the full absorption of concentrated attention, impresses the mental system with the actual vibrational frequency of confidence. And it is that frequency that the mental atmosphere broadcasts and the law of attraction responds to. Atkinson prescribes a specific daily practice for developing this capacity. Choose a mental quality you want to develop and strengthen in your mental atmosphere. Sit quietly. Bring your complete attention to the genuine inner feeling of that quality. Not to the idea of it, not to the thought about it, to the actual inner experience of it. Hold that experience with complete absorbed attention for a sustained period. When attention drifts, return it without frustration. When the quality fades from genuine feeling into mere thought about the quality, gently return to the actual inner experience rather than the concept. This practice done consistently and genuinely does two things simultaneously. It develops the power of concentration, and it deepens the impression of the chosen quality on the mental system. Both results compound over time, and both serve the same ultimate purpose. A mental atmosphere broadcasting at the frequency of what you genuinely want to attract. Chapter 9, Thought Force in Business. The most overlooked competitive advantage in any business has nothing to do with strategy, not market positioning, not pricing, not the particular combination of product features and customer service and operational efficiency that business schools teach as the foundations of sustainable competitive advantage. These things matter, but they are all secondary to something that operates beneath every business interaction and determines the quality of every business outcome with a consistency that the strategically focused mind never fully accounts for. That something is the quality of thought force being brought to the business. Atkinson spent considerable time observing the business world of his era. Looking past the visible explanations for why certain businesses and certain business people consistently produced extraordinary results, while others with equal resources and equal apparent capability consistently produced ordinary ones. And what he found operating beneath the surface of every case of genuine, sustained business success was the same thing: a quality of mental force, of concentrated positive thought energy, of genuine inner conviction about the value being created and the results being attracted, that the successful person brought to their work with a consistency and a depth that their less successful counterparts simply did not match. He is careful to distinguish this from mere optimism or positive attitude in the conventional sense. Positive attitude without genuine thought force is performance. It is the surface presentation of cheerfulness and confidence that has no deep inner substance behind it. People perceive the difference immediately, even when they cannot articulate it. The performance of confidence does not produce the same effect in the mental atmosphere as genuine confidence. It does not broadcast the same vibrational quality, and it does not attract the same conditions. Genuine thought force in business is the real thing. The deep settled inner conviction of genuine value being created. The authentic mental atmosphere of someone who genuinely believes in what they are doing and genuinely expects good results from doing it well. This quality broadcasts a vibrational signal that is immediately perceptible to everyone who comes into contact with it. Atkinson identifies 3 specific areas where genuine thought force produces measurable business advantage. The first is client and customer relationships. The business person who brings genuine thought force to every client interaction produces an effect in the mental atmosphere of that interaction that strategic charm and rehearsed presentation never replicate. The client feels genuinely met, genuinely considered, genuinely in the presence of someone whose mental atmosphere communicates authentic investment in their well-being. And that feeling produces trust and loyalty, and the quality of relationship that sustains business over time in ways that transactional efficiency never does. The second is decision-making under uncertainty. Every business involves the continuous navigation of uncertain situations where the available information is incomplete and the right course of action is not obvious. The mind operating from a mental atmosphere of genuine positive conviction perceives these situations differently from the mind operating from chronic anxiety and doubt. It sees possibilities that the anxious mind overlooks. It makes connections that the doubtful mind cannot access. It arrives at decisions with a quality of grounded confidence that the uncertain mind cannot produce regardless of how much additional information it seeks. The third is the attraction of genuine opportunity. Atkinson returns here to the fundamental principle of the law of attraction, applied specifically to the business context. The mental atmosphere of genuine positive conviction and genuine value consciousness is continuously broadcasting at a vibrational quality that attracts the people, the partnerships, the circumstances, and the opportunities that correspond to it, not through any mysterious mechanism. Through the simple and consistent operation of the same law that has been operating throughout this book. Bring genuine thought force to your work, not performance, not strategy, not the appearance of confidence while the inner atmosphere broadcasts something else. The genuine quality of mind that creates genuine value and genuinely expects genuine results. That mental atmosphere is the most powerful business tool available. And it costs nothing to develop Chapter 10, the power of desire. Most people confuse wanting with desiring. They seem like the same thing. They feel like the same thing in the moment of their arising. But Atkinson makes a distinction between them that is both precise and practically essential for anyone who wants to understand why some inner drives produce results and others produce only frustration. Wanting is surface. It is the conscious mind's preference for a particular outcome. The intellectual acknowledgement that a certain condition would be better than the current one. It is real, it is genuine, but it operates primarily at the level of conscious thought. And conscious thought alone, as we have established throughout this book, does not deeply impress the mental system and does not produce powerful and consistent vibrational broadcasting. Genuine desire is something different and something deeper. Genuine desire is the full engagement of the inner life with a chosen outcome. The deep and genuine inner drive that reaches below the surface of conscious preference into the emotional and vibrational depths of the mental system. That produces not just the thought of the desired condition, but the genuine felt reality of its importance. That generates the quality of inner energy that impresses the mental system deeply and broadcasts with the power and the consistency that genuine attraction requires. The difference between wanting and genuine desire is the difference between knowing you are thirsty and actually drinking. One is an acknowledgement, the other is an engagement. One operates at the surface. The other reaches the depths where genuine impression and genuine attraction actually happen. Atkinson examines why genuine desire is such a powerful force in the thought world. He says that genuine desire is one of the highest vibrational states available to the human mind. Not the desperate, grasping desire of someone who feels profound lack and is reaching anxiously toward what they do not have, but the clean, powerful, forward-moving desire of someone who is genuinely drawn toward a valued outcome, from a foundation of genuine inner conviction that it is available and coming. This distinction between the desire of lack and the desire of genuine, positive drive matters enormously for understanding why some desires attract and others repel. The desire rooted in lack broadcasts the vibrational quality of lack. It is driven by the felt absence of what is desired. And the law of attraction, responding to the actual vibrational broadcast rather than the surface content of the conscious desire, attracts more of the condition of lack. Not because the law is cruel or contrary, because it is accurate. It responds to what is actually being broadcast. And what is actually being broadcast is the deep feeling of not having rather than the forward drive of genuinely expecting to receive. The desire rooted in genuine positive drive broadcasts a completely different vibrational quality. It carries the energy of forward movement toward something genuinely valued, the inner sense of being drawn toward rather than desperately reaching for. The felt quality of an outcome that is genuinely important and genuinely expected rather than desperately hoped for. This quality of desire is what Atkinson calls the great moving force of the thought world. When genuine desire of this quality is combined with the concentrated attention that impresses it deeply on the mental system, and with the genuine positive expectation that maintains its vibrational quality consistently, it becomes one of the most powerful attractive forces available to the individual mind. He also addresses something about desire that most discussions of the subject overlook. Genuine desire clarifies. The person who genuinely desires a specific outcome with the full engagement of their inner life knows with increasing clarity exactly what they want and why they want it. That clarity is itself a vibrational quality. The mental atmosphere of someone who knows precisely what they are moving toward broadcasts with a specificity and a coherence that the vague general wanting of someone who has not engaged their genuine desire never achieves. And specific, coherent broadcasting attracts specific, coherent results. Know what you genuinely desire, engage with it fully, not from the feeling of its absence, from the genuine forward energy of someone already in motion toward what genuinely matters. Chapter 11. Developing new brain cells. You are not finished. This is the most important thing neuroscience has confirmed in the century since Atkinson wrote these words. And it is the thing that Atkinson himself was pointing toward with the language and the understanding available to him in 1906. The brain you have right now is not the brain you are stuck with. The patterns of thought that feel most natural and most automatic, the mental grooves worn deep by years of habitual repetition, the vibrational qualities that seem like fixed characteristics of your inner life rather than the results of accumulated unconscious practice. None of these are permanent. None of them are beyond the reach of deliberate development. The brain changes in response to what it does, what it practices. what it is consistently asked to do and consistently rewarded for doing. The neural pathways that support habitual patterns strengthen with use and weaken with disuse. New patterns, practiced with sufficient consistency and sufficient genuine engagement, develop new pathways. The brain that has been doing one thing for years can be genuinely developed to do something different. Atkinson called this developing new brain cells. The language was of his era. The principle is of all time. He begins with a precise observation about why mental development is more difficult than most people expect when they first attempt it. The habitual patterns of thought that characterize the current mental atmosphere are not just psychological habits. They are physical ones. They are supported by neural pathways that have been built and strengthened through years of consistent use. When you try to establish a new pattern of thought, you are not just choosing a new idea. You are asking the brain to build new physical infrastructure, while the existing infrastructure of the old pattern continues to operate with all the efficiency of long-established habit. This is why genuine mental development requires genuine consistency over sufficient time. Not because the change is impossible, but because building new neural infrastructure takes time and takes repetition. The new pathway needs to be activated consistently enough and deeply enough that it develops the structural strength to compete with and eventually replace the old one as the default. Atkinson prescribes what he calls the practice of new thought habits. The deliberate and consistent activation of chosen mental patterns with sufficient concentrated engagement that new neural pathways genuinely develop. The practice has three essential requirements. The first is repetition. The new thought pattern must be activated consistently. Not occasionally when you remember or when you feel motivated. Daily. With the understanding that each activation is a physical event in the brain as well as a mental one, that each genuine practice session is literally building the physical infrastructure of the new pattern. The second is genuine engagement. Repetition without genuine mental engagement produces shallow neural activation that does not build strong new pathways. The thought pattern must be held with real concentrated attention and real inner feeling. The vibrational quality of the chosen pattern must be genuinely felt rather than merely thought about. This genuine engagement is what produces the depth of neural activation that genuine structural development requires. The third is patience. New neural pathways do not develop overnight. They develop through consistent practice over weeks and months. The person who practices genuinely for a week and then concludes that nothing is changing is measuring at the wrong time scale. The change is happening. It is happening at the structural level of the brain. It simply has not yet reached the threshold of visibility in the automatic patterns of daily thought and daily experience. Atkinson closes this chapter with an observation that reframes the entire project of mental development in a way that makes it both more demanding and more encouraging. He says that developing new brain cells is not the work of changing who you are. It is the work of becoming more fully what you genuinely are. The higher vibrational qualities you are developing are not foreign imports being grafted onto an unwilling nature. They are the genuine expression of the deeper nature that was always present beneath the accumulated layers of unconscious habit. You are not building something new, you are uncovering something real that was always there, waiting for the consistent practice that would make it visible. Chapter 12, Claiming Your OWN, there is something that belongs to you, not something you need to earn, not something you need to persuade anyone to give you, not something that requires the favorable arrangement of outer circumstances before it can be yours, something that is yours by right. By the fundamental nature of what you are as a conscious individual expression of the intelligence that underlies all things, that something is everything that corresponds to your genuine, developed vibrational quality. Atkinson calls this claiming your own. And it is one of the most important practical ideas in this entire book, because most people approach the conditions they want in their lives from a position of supplication. of hoping and wishing and working toward something that feels perpetually outside their genuine reach, of treating abundance and success and genuine well-being as gifts that the universe may or may not choose to bestow, rather than as the natural and lawful expression of a vibrational quality they have developed and therefore have the right to receive. This position of supplication is not humility. It is a misunderstanding of how the law actually operates. The law of attraction is not a favor dispensed by a capricious universe to those it happens to favor on a given day. It is a consistent and impersonal law that responds to vibrational quality with the same reliability and the same complete indifference to personal preference that the law of gravity responds to mass. It does not choose who receives what based on worthiness or deservingness in any moral sense. It delivers what the vibrational quality of the mental atmosphere attracts, consistently, without exception. For everyone, this means that claiming your own is not an act of arrogance, it is an act of accurate understanding. The person who has genuinely developed a mental atmosphere of abundance consciousness is not arrogantly demanding what they have no right to. They are simply recognizing the lawful consequence of what they have genuinely developed. The abundance they are attracting is the natural and consistent expression of the vibrational quality they have built. It is theirs by the operation of a law as reliable as any in the physical universe. Atkinson describes what claiming your own actually involves in practice. It begins with the genuine recognition of what you have developed. The honest assessment of the vibrational quality of your current mental atmosphere and the clear identification of what that quality, operating through the law of attraction, is in the process of drawing toward you. Not what you hope it is drawing, what it actually is drawing based on the genuine quality of what you have built. This honest assessment requires the willingness to see both what is working and what still needs development. The mental atmosphere that is genuinely vibrating at the frequency of abundance is drawing abundance. The mental atmosphere that still carries significant vibrational elements of lack and doubt is still drawing conditions that reflect those elements. Honest recognition of both is the foundation of genuine development. From that honest recognition, the practice is to claim, with genuine inner conviction rather than desperate hoping, the conditions that correspond to what has genuinely been developed. Not to demand what the vibrational quality does not yet support, but to receive with genuine openness and genuine expectation what the developed vibrational quality is already in the process of attracting. Atkinson also addresses something about claiming your own that directly concerns the quality of inner life during the period between the development of the vibrational quality and the full physical manifestation of what it is attracting. He says that the person who genuinely understands the law maintains the inner quality of already having during this period, not pretending that physical conditions that have not yet arrived are already present, but holding the genuine inner conviction that the conditions are in process, that the law is operating, that what has been genuinely impressed on the mental system is genuinely in the process of physical expression. This inner quality of already having is itself a high vibrational state. It reinforces and deepens the mental atmosphere that is doing the attracting. It prevents the doubt and impatience that interrupt the process from gaining genuine inner traction. The conditions are coming, because the law is operating, because you have done the genuine inner work that the law responds to. Claim that. With the quiet certainty of someone who understands exactly how it works. Chapter 13, the master formula. Everything in this book has been building toward a single practical synthesis, not a collection of separate ideas to be applied individually in different situations, not a set of techniques to be rotated through depending on the challenge at hand. A single unified understanding that, when genuinely grasped and genuinely applied, addresses every situation and every challenge from the same foundational position. Atkinson calls this the master formula. And it is worth examining with the full attention it deserves, because it is not a new idea added to what has come before. It is the distillation of everything that has come before into its most essential and most actionable form. The master formula has three components. They are not sequential steps, they are simultaneous dimensions of a single integrated practice. Each one supports and deepens the others. And together, they constitute the complete practical application of everything the law of attraction in the thought world actually requires. The first component is desire, not the surface wanting that most people mistake for genuine desire. The deep, genuine inner drive that reaches below conscious preference into the emotional and vibrational depths of the mental system. The full engagement of the inner life with a clearly defined and genuinely valued outcome. The quality of inner energy that does not merely acknowledge what would be better, but is genuinely and completely drawn toward it with the forward momentum of someone already in motion. Without genuine desire, the formula has no fuel. The other two components have nothing to work with. Genuine desire is the source of the vibrational energy that the entire process requires. And it cannot be manufactured through technique or generated through repetition of words that are not genuinely felt. It must be real, rooted in genuine values, connected to what actually matters at the deepest level of the individual inner life. The second component is concentrated attention. The capacity to hold the object of genuine desire in the complete and sustained focus of genuine mental concentration. Not the brief surface visits of casual thinking. The deep, sustained engagement that impresses the desired quality on the mental system with the depth and the clarity that genuine atmospheric change requires. Without concentrated attention, the desire remains at the surface. It does not reach the levels where genuine impression occurs. It does not develop the vibrational depth that powerful and consistent broadcasting requires. Genuine desire combined with genuine concentration produces the deep impression that shapes the mental atmosphere. And the shaped mental atmosphere is what the law of attraction responds to with consistency and power. The third component is positive expectation. The genuine inner conviction that what is genuinely desired and genuinely concentrated upon is genuinely coming. Not the desperate hoping of someone who wants something, but doubts they will receive it. The calm, settled inner knowing of someone who understands the law and trusts its consistent operation. Who knows that genuine desire, combined with genuine concentrated attention, has genuinely shifted the vibrational quality of the mental atmosphere, and who therefore genuinely expects the conditions that correspond to that quality to move toward them with the same reliability with which every other law in the universe operates. Without positive expectation, the formula is incomplete, because expectation is itself a vibrational quality. The genuine expectation of good is a high vibrational state that deepens and reinforces the mental atmosphere. The expectation of disappointment is a low vibrational state that undermines it. The law responds to both with equal consistency. Atkinson is clear that these three components must be genuine, not performed, not repeated mechanically without real inner substance. The master formula is not a ritual. It is a description of a real inner condition that produces real results through a real and consistent law, genuine desire. Concentrated attention, positive expectation, all three present simultaneously, all three genuine, all three deepening with consistent practice over time. This is the complete practical application of everything this book has been building toward, not complicated. Not requiring any special gift or any unusual circumstance, requiring only the genuine inner work that any person willing to do it can do, starting now, with whatever genuine desire is most alive in them at this moment. Chapter 14, The Reality of the Unseen. The most real things in your life are invisible, not the conditions you can see and touch and measure. Not the physical circumstances that seem so solid and so definite and so undeniably present. These are real. But they are the end of something rather than the beginning of it. They are the visible expression of invisible causes that preceded them. the physical manifestation of mental realities that were present and operating long before they became visible in the outer world. This is not a new idea. Every genuine wisdom tradition in human history has pointed toward it in one form or another. But Atkinson approaches it from the specific angle that this book has been developing from the beginning. From the precise understanding of thought vibration and the law of attraction and the mechanism through which invisible mental realities become visible physical conditions. He says this: the unseen world of thought is more real in the causative sense than the seen world of physical conditions. Not more real in the sense of being more immediate to ordinary perception, but more real in the sense that matters most practically. More real as cause, more real as the level at which genuine change is possible. More real as the place where the conditions of a life are actually determined before they appear in physical form. Most people operate as though the visible world is the real world and the invisible world of thought and feeling and vibrational quality is secondary, supplementary. Something that influences experience at the margins, while the real determinants of life operate through the visible mechanics of outer circumstance and outer effort. Atkinson says this understanding has the relationship exactly backwards. The visible world of physical conditions is secondary. It is the expression of primary invisible causes. Change the invisible cause, and the visible condition must change. Leave the invisible cause unchanged, and no amount of manipulation of the visible conditions will produce lasting change, because the cause is still operating. And the cause will continue producing its characteristic conditions, regardless of how many times the surface arrangements are altered. This is why genuine understanding of the reality of the unseen is not merely an interesting philosophical position. It is the most practically significant understanding available to anyone who wants to genuinely and lastingly change the conditions of their life, because it tells you where to work, not at the level of visible conditions, at the level of invisible causes, at the level of the thought world, at the level of the vibrational quality of the mental atmosphere that is continuously generating the visible conditions that most people spend their entire lives trying to change from the outside. Atkinson closes this book with a vision of what becomes possible when this understanding is not merely intellectual, but genuinely operative in the inner life of the person who holds it. The person who genuinely understands the reality of the unseen does not experience their life the way the person who does not understand it experiences theirs. They do not experience current conditions as fixed facts about what their life is and what it is capable of becoming. They experience them as the current visible expression of invisible causes that are already in the process of changing through the genuine inner work they are doing. They do not experience setbacks as evidence of failure or as proof that the principles do not work. They experience them as information about the current state of the invisible causes and as the starting point for deeper inner work. The cause can always be worked on. The invisible can always be developed. The vibrational quality of the mental atmosphere can always be raised further in the direction of what is genuinely desired. And the visible conditions will always follow the invisible causes. They have no choice, because that is the law. The most real things in your life are the ones you cannot yet see, the thoughts you are thinking right now. The vibrational quality of the mental atmosphere you are maintaining right now. The genuine desire and the genuine expectation, and the genuine inner conviction that you are building right now through the consistent application of everything this book has given you. These invisible realities are determining your visible future with the same reliability with which every law of the universe has always operated. Work with them deliberately. Work with them consistently. Work with them with the deep understanding that the unseen is always the cause of the seen. And watch your visible world become the expression of your genuinely developed invisible one. That is the promise of this book. That is the promise of the law. And it has never failed anyone who genuinely applied it.